Hey guys, and welcome to this Traxxas / 4x4 unboxing video where I'm going to show you the upgrade paths that I take to make these things really tough. Now if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that these things really take a beating. So today I'm not actually going to be using this particular model to upgrade, as I've done this one already, and I'll take you to that later on. We're actually going to work on the Traxxas / Fox edition. Here it is in its cellophane packaging, folks. This one's not been opened yet. I think it's time we got inside this box. Now both of these models are low centre of gravity, onboard audio models, and they have Traxxas stability management, and that is a really cool technology. Fox edition is my favourite body of all. The black and the white, the little tail on it, I love the logo. It's brilliant. Let's just get into this thing. No fussing around, just get in this thing. Oh, hello, where did that go? I'm in, guys, I'm in. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look. The box is looking great. Let's break the seal. So, right then, which end have we got here? Let's have a look inside. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Parts bag. Somewhere around here there's a transmitter. It looks like I'm doing some sort of artificial insemination program here. So you actually get some body spacers, you get some shock tensioners, and a toolkit in there as well, and the rest of the clips. Obviously an instruction guide too, and some stickers. Let's have a little look. Take this body off. Oh, there we go. So inside this thing, there we go. You can see the two speakers for left and right audio there. They give this thing the roar that is the onboard audio system. Look at the body though. I mean, that's the selling point to me. The Fox logo, I love it. It just pops. It looks amazing. Looks brilliant. You see this driving down the street or even at your local bash site and people stop and stare, they talk about it. It's awesome. So this is inside the truck. As you can see there, it's a four-wheel drive short course truck. You've got the drive shaft in the centre, the radio sits here, you've got the 3S ESC here in the middle, and then the Aluminium 3500 brushless motor at the back here as well. You can see the tyres are actually slightly different on this one. They're actually not the same as the other models. They're slightly different, like an all-terrain kind of tread to them. You can see straight away that there's not an awful lot of return to the truck as standard, so I actually tend to change that straight away. I think if we were going to talk about the upgrades out the box straight away, yeah, straight away we'll change these tyres. We've got these Badlands. They've actually come off another truck. Been used a little bit, but they're still in great condition. You know, stick them on there and you know straight away you're going to get great traction, you know, all conditions, and they don't fill with water particularly easily either. I always tape them up on the inside. As you can see, there's little bits of Gorilla tape there just to stop the water from going into the foams. Next thing to upgrade then is the shock caps. So the little plastic caps that actually unscrew so you can fill the shocks with oil. I tend to undo these and then replace them with the metal shock caps. So you can get these, they're part of the Traxxas upgrade kind of packs, and you just screw them on and they don't undo as easily, or if they get knocked they don't pop off, which is really good because as you can see when you kind of put some strain on these they kind of move a little bit and it tends to pop off here and you lose all your shock oil. Not ideal. So changing those out is a great upgrade straight off the box, and they're not that expensive for these either. The next thing obviously I upgrade is the arms to RPM front and rear arms. Now these are a really hard compound, but they're actually yet quite forgiving. So underneath this thing you've got the arms front here, and then the rear ones, they get replaced straight away with the RPM upgrades. Now the reason I do this is because I've snapped quite a lot of arms out of the box, not because they're weak, but because if you're running 3S, this thing really has a lot of power and it puts a lot of strain on the little hinge pins here. So that's a great upgrade straight out the box. Just change them over and you'll find that you'll stop breaking the arms off instantly. We're also going to add, just going back to the shocks, we're going to put some tensioners on these shocks because there's nowhere near enough return on that for me. When you've got a battery in this, which we'll go on to in a minute, that's not returning enough. When it's laden with a battery and mud and wet, there's not enough ground clearance, and you'll find that it'll bottom out and hit a lot of different things. and scrape the bottom of the chassis here, which obviously you don't really want it to do. The next thing I upgrade, so they are slider drive shafts. They're Traxxas' kind of patented design. As you can see, they kind of slide in and out as you lift or drop the truck, and you can see they kind of slide into each other. I replaced these straight away with the hardened or extreme version, you could say. It's like the upgraded model. It's hardened plastics, and these just quite literally, you know, replace the existing ones. No modifications needed. You just take them out, put these in, and you'll find that these run really great. So there's 2 for the front, and there's also 2 for the rear. And to be honest, that's pretty much the upgrade path that I take for this truck. I mean, it doesn't really need much else apart from a little bit of extra kind of strength to really give it some performance, really. So let's talk about the batteries that I'm going to put in this thing. And again, there's another upgraded component that I'll need to go along with this, which is just here. So it's actually the expandable battery tray. So it tends to be that if you buy a standard size battery, maybe 4,000 milliamps, it'll fit in the existing battery holder absolutely fine. So as you can see, it just sits in that slot there. Your battery will fit in nicely and you can plug it in. The problem is, if you go for a larger capacity, you'll need a larger hold tray to fit that battery in. So I tend to go for the expansion kit, which is just here. And what this allows us to do straight away is to literally fit a larger battery into the tray. As you can see, it's the most easiest upgrade as well, because it just replaces the existing one and then clips straight in. You're good to go. So that's a 29mm adapter, so the larger batteries can fit. Talking of the battery then, so inside here I go to Hobby King and I purchased the 6,000 milliamp 3-cell lipos. Now they've got the XT90 connector on. Go ahead and buy some adapters. You can just change that over to the Traxxas standard, and obviously that'll work straight away. Now that will still charge fine on any third-party charger with the JST balance connector, but this will give you a good 30 minutes of runtime. I'm not joking. I know from experience, I've ran several of these in these slash 4x4s, and I get a good 30 minutes per runtime. So as you can see, I bought 4 of them because they are fantastic batteries, great value for money, and end of the day, you know, you get 30 minutes of runtime, you're pretty happy. Down tray, and then there we go. So that fits in there really nicely. We can obviously cable tie the cables out of the way. As you can see, it fits in spot on. Now, the first time you switch this truck on, it isn't a case of just saying, right, that's it, plug it in and drive. You have to change the ESC into Lipo Cutoff mode, okay? Make sure the safety's on. So up is on, safety. Plug your battery in, switch your truck on. You'll see that the ESC goes red straight away there. Now that means it's in nickel metal hydrate mode. So we have to change this over to support Lipo Cutoff. The difference is a Lipo can only run down so far, a nickel metal hydrate can run flat. So let's go ahead and press and hold the on-off button. About 10 seconds, we'll hear it buzz. It will change tune and change modes. Okay, as you see, it's gone green. Now what this means is it's now in Lipo Cutoff mode. The truck can drive without any damage coming to that battery. And what will happen when the battery gets flat, rather than it kind of just stopping, it'll slow down slowly, and then you'll see red flashing lights here to say the battery's in cutoff mode and it's not going to use any more. As you can see, there's the audio with the green light, so the power's on. This will be on full volume as default. So as I steer left, right, and it's proportional. Really decent steering servo in that. It's got a lot of sort of power in it. It's waterproof. The whole truck is waterproof. Okay, at the moment, can't drive. That's because the safety switch is on. This also arms the truck, so when I flick that, this will now drive with this battery at about 50 miles an hour. Out of the box, if you change the gearing, it will do 60 miles an hour. So as you can see, if I lift this off the ground, yep, that's 50 miles an hour. And reverse. Woo! And forwards. Nice and fast. So, into safety again. And let's put the shell on, plug the audio system in, and you're going to hear what this thing can do. Your connector, as so. And then when you obviously put the body back on the truck, like so. You'd put your clips on, you're ready to go. Now, again, this is going to be full volume. It's going to blow your face off when you switch this on. So here we go. It's in safety, it can't drive, but you can still accelerate and make the noises. Here we go, guys, stand back. Jesus Christ! I love it so much! It's awesome! So here we have the fully upgraded Mark Jenkins edition that I've already applied those aftermarket upgrades to. Let's have a look under the shell and I'll show you what I've done exactly. You can see it's a really nice red and black design with the white Traxxas logos. And then inside, again, like the Fox edition, you've got the audio system left and right. Bits and pieces on this that aren't stock, so you can see the shock caps in red there. Really bright, nice, they pop. I went for blue on the other model. And obviously this one's gone for red because it's the Mark Jenkins. Really nice to see. And they add like a nice kind of touch to that truck. You can see the battery expansion slot there, the 29mm one, so it can fit that battery inside, and I've removed the foam. Nothing else has been touched there as such. Let's look on the other side here. You can see that on the front and the rear, these RPM arms have been fitted to this truck, and you can see that they've got that kind of, you know, strengthened look to them, and obviously the RPM classic design. So nice and strong. Let's talk about the tyres then. So as you can see, these are actually fast track tyres. They're called Jigsaw short course truck tyres. Really nice. You can see they've got that kind of really thick, meaty kind of tread to them. They're aftermarket, and again, a bit like the Badland tyres I showed you earlier, I've taped them on the inside, so I'm hoping on the camera you can kind of see there's actually places inside the tyre with the Gorilla tape. Yeah, you can just about see it on the camera there. So finally, the only real other upgrade I did was to change the drive shafts, and as you can see they are the Hardened ones that are in there. They're really hard, solid bits of plastic, and with any luck you won't have any breakages, especially if you're running on 3S. If you're running on 4S, you probably want to go to the CVDs, the metal or steel drive shafts. Finally, the last thing to mention was on the other truck, if you remember, I talked about strengthening the shocks, and as you can see, the rebound on this is crazy. You know, it has a lot of return. It's perfect so that when you're bashing around, it's full of mud, you've got a heavy battery pack in there, the audio on the top of the shell, you've got enough return to bring this thing off the ground away from any debris underneath, grass, gravel, dirt, anything like that, mud that can get in the way and slow you down and put extra strain on the motor or the drivetrain. I understand it's the low centre of gravity model, but again, I'm not interested in racing. So all I want to do is bash hard, bash fast, and this thing and this setup can do just that. It has what it needs to get me doing that out the box with these few upgrades, and I think for you guys it would do you the trick as well. So just before we finish, I'm going to show you the Traxxas stability management technology I was talking about earlier that this truck has built in. So basically it's a sensor that understands which way the truck is facing and what it's doing, and it turns the steering against itself to keep you in a straight line. It's really clever. So if I switch this on, you can see I've already put it into Lipo Cutoff mode in green, and as you can see, nothing happens with the steering at the moment. There's no reaction at all. It's only when you go to drive the truck, so it's now armed, when I lift it up, it always has to stay in a straight line. And if you leave it alone for a second, it'll straighten up. So again, if I drive, and then when I leave it alone, it straightens up. It's brilliant. Remember, you've got the trim settings here to adjust how much it responds. Perfect. Okay, so you've seen what we're going to do. This Slash is going to have the exact same upgrades done to it. I've taken you through the parts. You've seen it on the other Mark Jenkins edition Slash. And stay tuned for the running videos with this thing in the dirt soon. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, please like and subscribe, share these videos. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to look at my Facebook page as well. That's going to scare a few people.